This Yuletide Miniseries is a replay of episodes originally published in 2024. This way, the episodes are conveniently queued up in your podcast player so you don't have to go searching for them, and you never lose your spot in the listening order. As always, we're celebrating Yuletide in real time in the Numinous Network. I hope you'll join us for daily altar time from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Pacific, starting December 21st, winter solstice, and going through till New Year on January 1st. We're gathering on Zoom to check in, light our candles, and do a 20-minute guided trance journey to connect with the Yuletide theme of the day. So join us in the Numinous Network for Yuletide. Sign up at carmenspaniola.com. Welcome to the 9th day of Yuletide, when we acknowledge how much medicine, nourishment, and abundance we receive from the earth. As the year and the Yuletide begin to come to a close, part of our spiritual work now is to give thanks directly to the land for all the abundance that sustains us. It's also a time we can take pride in the fruits of our labors and our ability to provide for ourselves and our loved ones whatever we can. This is a night for feasting and sharing provender, which is colloquially defined as food that isn't fancy but sustains you. Perhaps you might gift some preserves or trade homemade cookies with friends, swap seeds with a neighbor, have dinner delivered to someone in isolation, set up an automatic monthly donation to your community soup kitchen, support your local farmer or fisher or seasonal flower grower by signing up for their CSA box or some other form of community-supported agriculture. And by all means, if it's within your scope, then bartering the spoils of your hunt or fishing expedition is a great example of how sharing bounty creates community. Think of how else you might get even more looped into your local food system and the people and animals and plants within it, and how you can bring others who are less fortunate into the loop with you. Think also about sharing your privilege through protest and advocacy. Which part of your local food system needs defending most urgently? Which privileges do you carry that can be leveraged to help create more equity in how resources are shared in our society? Where do you fit in the land back movement to decolonize and repatriate stolen land back to indigenous sovereignty? Maybe even just start by following the hashtag #LandBack. In order to be fed, we must feed. We must give our body to labor, our hearts to service, our mind to justice, and our spirit to love in action. So to whatever degree you are capable, according to your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual ability, offer your thanks to the earth today. In Old England, the farmer would take a cup of strong ale and cake with a hole in it on this day. He would start in the barn with the largest ox and give him a toast, addressing him by name, and then do the same for all the other oxen. Afterwards, the cake was hung from the horn of the first ox. And then I'm not sure what kind of havoc would have ensued with one ox having a ring cake on his horn, but there was a similar tradition in Russia with ring cakes and oxen blessings. There are other stories of Slavic peoples thanking their livestock for blessings, where the house mother goes to the goat stall and sprinkles the animals with corn, and then toasts to them with a cup of wine, saying, "Good morning, little mother, mayest thou be healthy. I drink to thee in wine, I give thee a pomegranate, mayst thou meet with all good luck." Then she drinks the wine and tosses the pomegranate to the herd. She turns to the lead mama goat, throws her arms around her, and kisses her over and over, saying, "Peace be upon you." She does this with all the sheep and cows too, and then all the animals are ritually cleansed and brushed off with an olive branch. So sweet. One way to express gratitude to the earth is to learn more about the natural world. So, for instance, there are several plants associated with Yuletide because of their special magical and medicinal qualities. Some of these may come to carry enhanced meaning for you, depending on the medicine that your spirit is needing right now. We touched previously on mistletoe, but only briefly. It might interest you to know that mistletoe is a parasite that gets transmitted from tree to tree via bird droppings. Why is that magical? Well, because it means that mistletoe doesn't derive its nutrients from the soil, but rather from its host. And since it never touches the earth, it is known as a liminal plant, one that grows between earth and sky. Mistletoe can grow in any direction. It doesn't always reach for the sun and try to grow upwards as most plants do. It's also strange in that its berries ripen midwinter. Beyond that, they're also unusual in that you can often find ripe berries, green berries, fully open flowers, and immature leaves all on the plant at the same time. So it completely shirks the normal rules of existence for most plants, and is therefore clearly 100% magic. The German, Cornish, Irish, and Old Norse words for mistletoe all mean some variation of sacred tree. Juniper is an important evergreen in Scandinavia, Germany, and Scotland for smoke cleansing during the 12 days of Yule, and for what the Scottish refer to as seining, a form of blessing and purification. The juniper boughs would be arranged to dry around the fire for a day, and then lit for smoke to fumigate the house and rid it of old energies and mean spirits. Alternatively, a small juniper bough can be dipped in a vessel of water taken from a body of water over which both the dead and the living pass. So, a place with like a bridge near a cemetery kind of thing. The water would be sprinkled in every room of the house as a form of holy water to cleanse and prepare it for the coming new year. Holly is a holy plant, in part because both the cross and the crown of thorns were thought to be made of holly. The Cailleach, remember the old woman of winter in the Scottish Highlands, keeps her magic staff under a holly tree, which is why no grass will grow under a holly, it is said. We are nearing the time of divination for the new year, and it was believed that if 9 leaves of holly were tied with 9 knots and placed in a handkerchief under the pillow, the sleeper would dream of their future spouse. In Old England, holly was brought inside to give shelter to the sylvan spirits thought to live within its boughs. Holly is also sacred to Hola, the Germanic underworld goddess, and is a symbol of everlasting life. Its red berries represent the Menzies blood of the archetypal sacred mother. Ivy is magically paired with holly for good luck, especially sterile holly, because the supposedly feminine nature of ivy balances the apparently masculine qualities of sterile holly. Ivy was sacred to a few gods of death and resurrection, namely Egypt's Osiris and the Greek god Dionysus. Ivy was a prominent feature of the kissing bough in Tudor times, a large ornament made of 2 intertwined wreaths forming a globe, which was wrapped then in ivy and other evergreens, plus a sprig of mistletoe, and hung at the entrance of a home. Guests would embrace the homeowners under the bough, signifying that they brought only their well wishes with them. The apple tree is also considered sacred during Yuletide, particularly the tradition of wassailing the orchard. In this ritual, a group of people would take a cup of cider to a tree in the apple orchard, which would represent all the trees. This ritual is an example of the great importance that pagans placed on ensuring the life-sustaining continuity of the cycle of the seasons. At this time in midwinter, and on the day that honors the month of September, it seems only right to pay homage and thanks to fruit trees and perennials that nourish us and our communities so well with such little maintenance. Throughout the British Isles, a rowdy bit of wassailing is customary today. Wassail is mentioned in literature as early as the 8th century epic Beowulf. Wassail is a drink made of spiced mulled apple cider and sometimes curdled cream or beaten eggs. Yum, I guess. Wassail is also a greeting that basically means, to your health. It is written in a 12th century text that a girl named Renwine emerged at a banquet with a golden goblet full of good drink. She curtsied to King Vortigern and said, "Wassail." In reply, the king said, "Drink hail," and commanded Renwine to drink. And so it continued a couple centuries later in Tudor times, with descriptions of a custom where the leader of a gathering holds up a special goblet to a guest and says, "Wassail," and the crowd calls back, "Drink hail," and the guests drink from the goblet. Then that guest turns to the guy beside them and says, "Wassail," and everyone cheers, "Drink hail," and then that guy drinks from the sacred vessel. So it's kind of germy, and we don't do that anymore. Everyone can just drink out of their own cups, but it's a nice thought. Wassail, drink hail. In fruit-growing areas, folks would begin the revelry in the orchard with a toast to the most revered apple tree, and that tree would be offered a cup of wassail, and a piece of toast would be given that was dipped in the wassail and left on the tree. A song or a poem like this one would be given. "Wassail the trees that they may bear you many a plum and many a pear. For more or less fruits they will bring, as you do give them wassailing." And then wassail moves from a noun to a verb, and people wassail from door to door, singing songs and asking to be served even more wassail in exchange. So today, how can you express thanks to the earth for such generosity? How would the earth know you loved her? How can you surprise and delight the earth with an offering of love? Singing songs in praise of the earth and good harvest, of course, is a great offering. Dancing, of course. Speaking aloud to the forest, "I love you so much," and then hugging your favorite tree. Pouring libations onto the ground. Elaborate prayers of thanks for a glass of water. Maybe a few tears of gratitude shed at mealtime. Since this 9th night honors the month of September, consider which activities are customary in your home at that time of year, and find a symbol to put on the altar. Fruit, vegetables, grain, and animal figurines are all appropriate. You might want to bury an offering into the earth to return the favor of feeding. Tonight is all about gratitude for that which gives us life. There are the simple pleasures of growing, fertilizing, harvesting, tending, and preserving to appreciate, things that my family calls the small and delicious life.